Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
So now we're going to do a review of Star Wars Villainous, which is based on the Disney Villainous system. This is for ages 10 and up, 2 to 4 players. It takes about 20 minutes per player. So we have done a how to play and playthrough. We encourage you to check it out because there's a lot of differences between this and the Disney Villainous. I'll go over some of them right now. So each character has different objective to win the game. Now this is what it looked like at the end of it. Julie played General Grievous. So there are 6 characters, and they have their own little mini books which have different rules depending on who you play. So you have Darth Vader, which I played, and General Grievous, Julie played. You can play Kylo Ren, Moff Gideon, and Asajj Ventress. This is from the Clone Wars cartoon, it's from the Mandalorian, and this is from the new movies, which this will stay in the shrink wrap because I don't care for the new movies. So 5 of the characters here I will play with. They all have their own player boards, and there are differences into what you got to do to win. So for Darth Vader, what he has to do, he has to get, Luke will start here on the Death Star on his Jedi side. That means that he's a good guy. Well, he's not conflicted. I have to get him to the conflicted side by playing different cards, move him to the Emperor's throne room, have the Emperor in play, and then spend 6 ambition to win the game. So you heard me use the term ambition. Well, there's a new currency in here, ambition, and then you have credits. So you don't have power. Instead, you have 2 currencies, credits, ambition, which I'll go over in a minute how you use them. General Grievous has to defeat Jedis to get lightsabers. Has to get 8 lightsabers. Usually, General Grievous will get 1 lightsaber, defeating 1 Jedi, but Kit Fisto and Ahsoka Tano, if he defeats them, he'll get 2 lightsabers. So that one's pretty easy to play. Asajj Ventress, she has missions she has to complete, so she has a separate deck of missions, has to complete 3 of them. Moff Gideon. Now, Julie started out playing this because she was a fan of The Mandalorian with Grogu. She has to capture and experiment on Grogu, which is not very nice,
No.
but that's why they're villains. So she has to get cards out of her deck to get Grogu out and to get the Doctor out to experiment. So this one is a little bit more complicated too. Kylo Ren, well, this is the first time I'm reading this, commit to the dark side of the Force. So it does follow the movie. So let's talk about what's a little different. You notice that there's a ship here in a new space called Deep Space. You can play villain vehicles on one side and hero vehicles can go on the other side through a fate action. Where's the Millennium Falcon? Oh, or the X-Wing. Now, when there's a vehicle here, the villain can move here and actually use it as a location. So you'll see that there are 3 actions there. I'll go over the actions in a moment. And an ability. If there's no... So it becomes another location. In fact, you can have multiple vehicles there, and you can decide which one to move to. So there's the Executor, which is Darth Vader's ship. I don't even know where it is.
I don't know. Maybe in your discard pile?
Oh, it's already out.
Oh.
You can have a advanced TIE fighter right here. Okay. So you can have multiple vehicles there, but you only just choose which one to go to. If a hero vehicle is here, and you do not engage the hero vehicle by spending a maneuver action, that means you'll have 1 less card in your deck. So for every hero vehicle that's left out there that's not engaged, you'll lose. You usually can have 4 cards. You'll have 1 less card for each hero vehicle that's not. So why do you want to? When you do engage them, though, you cannot use the abilities, the actions here, but you can use the ability, and you have to engage a hero vehicle to use a vanquish action, which is this symbol, to remove the hero vehicle. So that's new. Another thing that can happen that's new is how you reveal cards. So General Grievous, for instance, is going to be wanting to reveal heroes in order to defeat them. Anytime you reveal cards and you find that hero, then you must reshuffle the discard deck. So that's a new thing. So anytime you reveal or find cards, you must reshuffle the deck after taking that action. as I said, there's ambition. One thing we got confused of when we were playing this the first time, we thought when you move here, oh, you get an ambition token. Well, you actually get an ambition token at the beginning of your every turn. So I'm going to show you that that's also a difference in the turn sequence. No, this symbol means you get to play an ambition card or use an ambition action on a card that's already played. So if I want to get Emperor Palpatine out, I have to go here. He costs 0 ambition, and then I place him here. And then to use his ambition action to defeat Luke, it would cost 6 ambition here.
5. Oh, 6.
No,
yeah,
6.
there it is. Yeah.
Okay. To defeat Luke, I have to have. So you have ambition. It costs to play cards like right here, join us or die. It costs 1 ambition to play. It's not a play a card action. It's actually using an ambition action, and you have to have ambition to play it, that currency. Or to use ambition on a card that's already out on your sector. Credits are used just like power in Disney Villainous to play cards from your hand. So this is a card that costs 1 credit, but this is a card that costs 0 ambition, but it still takes an ambition action. You still have to be in a location that has that symbol. Some cards, you just tells you when you can play it based on what's happening on another player's turn, for instance. So when you move, so one thing that starts out differently is that your character starts out here. And the portrait on Disney Villainous usually start on the leftmost location. You have to change locations, sectors, every turn. You can't stay in the same place. When you do go to a location, this is a fate. So if you take a fate action, this is how you can slow down another player. So I can slow down Julie by playing, you draw 2, and I can decide which card to play. If I can only play him if I can carry out all the effects. So I draw 2 and I would choose one. So sometimes you're going to take fate actions to slow down your opponent. So that's fate. This is where you discard cards because you have to cycle through. So for instance, if I haven't drawn Emperor Palpatine yet, and I have 4 cards, okay, I may discard 4. Just discard my whole hand. I might play 1 and then discard the rest, and hope I can find Emperor Palpatine. That's why you have the discard action, because you have to cycle through your deck. This is Vanquish. So when a hero is played, so Julie drew from my deck, and she plays Princess Leia. When a hero comes out, it covers up actions you can use. One thing to note that Luke is not a hero. He's a Jedi, which means hero actions don't affect him. So say she puts Princess Leia here. She has 2 strength. That's what that 2 means, which means I would have to have at least 2 strength of allies to defeat her. So if I have, for instance, this Dark Trooper here, I can take this Vanquish action and defeat Leia. Now, not only does that hero cover up actions I can take, but when Princess Leia comes out, now I need 7 to defeat Luke, because it's increased by 1. Or anytime I take an ambition action, it goes up by 1. So Leia makes it more expensive for me to use ambition actions. When you go, and this gives you credits. This is maneuver, different from Disney Villainous. When you maneuver a ally or an item, you can move them to any location, any sector you want, not adjacent sectors. So that's different. And you can carry them out in any order. So if I, for instance, were to vanquish Leia, I couldn't do that right here. It would be, let's say I vanquish her here, and I have the Dark Trooper here. I get my 3 credits. I vanquish her. When you vanquish, you compare the values. 2 beats a 2. They both go away. General Grievous has cards that if she goes back in her hand or if she spins ambition, they can stay out. So every deck is different. So these go away. And now look, I can take a fate action and I can discard cards now that Leia has been removed. So other than that, you are playing allies down here. Heroes are being played up here by your opponent usually, unless you want to play heroes out like General Grievous does to defeat them to get their lightsabers. And you keep on playing until one person, it's basically a race game, completes your objective before the other.
Yep.
So that's how you play brief overview. If you want to see more detail, we go through the whole game and you can find out who won.
So now we're going to tell you our pluses, our minuses, and our neutrals, and then we'll tell you how we did it on the BGG scale.
Okay.
I'm first.
Oh, it's dark.
Wow, it's dark. I think Star Wars fans will really, really like this. I like Star Wars, but I'm not a huge super fan, but I do like it. I think the screen grabs are really cool because you do feel like you're in the movie. Now, granted, I haven't seen all the cartoons. Is that what they're called? Cartoons?
Yeah, Clone Wars. There's been a couple other cartoons too.
Yeah, so I'm not sure who a lot of these people are, but if it's the movie that I've seen, I'm like, wow, this is really cool.
Well, they're even taking screen grabs from all the movies. So this is from Rogue One here.
Oh, see, and I don't know like who comes from what movie.
But no, it's nice to see that they are taking screen grabs from all
Yeah.
the available material.
What else did I say? I think it can get very frustrating if you don't get the cards you need, and I have gotten frustrated if I don't you get your 4 cards and you're like, oh my god, I can't do any of this, and it can get kind of annoying. It did take numerous plays for me to appreciate this game. The first time we played it, I was kind of like, I don't really want to do this again.
Well, you've also played Moff Gideon, which is harder.
Yeah, he was really hard. Now that I've played General Grievous,
yeah.
he is going to be the only one I will play because I got him down. I like the way he does things, and that'll be my only thing. The components are average. They're okay. The little people do what are these called again?
Yeah, average card stock. Well, this is plastic, but I'm going to talk about this. You see how they're kind of have some imperfections in them? And I checked online. It seems like all the runs have that problem.
And then the last thing, which is a negative, is it has to take that. And as much as I, messed with David, I still don't like doing that. I don't like to play mean. I mean, yes, I know you're supposed to want to win, and I do want to win, but I want to just concentrate on just playing my guy and getting my stuff done, and not necessarily trying to mess with him. So.
Are we sure that was all of it?
That was it.
Okay, so take a look at what I have to say.
Probably.
Okay, so thematic hand management mission race game in the Star Wars universe. It's really an objective race game.
Oh.
I call them missions because I played Asajj Ventress and they call her missions, but
okay.
But it really is objectives. It's the same thing. So it's asymmetrical balance issues, meaning that some are more difficult to play. So with somebody who's young, and again, 10 and up, 10 and up, if you are a experienced 10-year-old that can read on your own, sure. And then you would still want to play General Grievous. That's the easiest one to play, I think.
Yeah, he's my guy.
The other ones require too much deck searching because you got to get this out to make this happen to make that happen.
Oh,
I'd say Darth Vader is probably second easiest. So, but there's some balance issues because some are, I think, Moff Gideon and Asajj Ventress are more difficult to win with than compared to General Grievous. Okay, so it adds ambition tokens and deep space locations at the expense of accessibility. So this is more complicated than regular Disney Villainous. I'm okay with that, but we were playing things wrong.
Yeah.
It does take some getting used to okay, you play a vehicle, hero vehicle, you have to engage. How do you engage? You got to maneuver. Oh, they're not engaged, so you got to lose a card. I mean, you have less cards in your hand. And then the fact that they change up some of the stuff of how maneuvering works, power versus credits. Remember I said that in the beginning, we thought you got a power there. I went really quick with Darth Vader the first time when we played because I was getting power too quick.
Ambition?
Yeah, ambition, because I'm calling it Disney Villainous power. By the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning that in my overview, what's different in the play sequence, I alluded to it, but if you really want, this is what's really different here, is you get a power at the beginning of your turn.
An ambition.
Ambition, See, I keep on confusing it. And then it's just like the other game. You just get an ambition at the beginning of your turn. All right, so it really should be 12 and up with the complexity that they've added to it. Our boys could have handled it because they started playing Magic the Gathering when they were 7 and 9. and you were playing Star Wars Miniatures when they were 5 and 7, they were gamer. They could have handled it. But if you saw this on Target and go, oh, that's cool, let's get it for Johnny, and Johnny's only played Uno. No.
It won't work.
And if your family's only used to Scrabble and Monopoly,
Won't work.
I don't see it happening.
No.
Unless somebody shows you. And then even then, you got to have the patience to play this correctly and learn it correctly.
True.
So it does have quality screen grabs. Some people don't like screen grabs, but they did a good job. Some games we played, this is high resolution screen grabs. It was probably taken from 4K or Blu-ray resolution. We've played some games where they're taking it from VHS or DVD quality, and you can tell it's grainy and it doesn't look good. But they do have pretty good screen grabs. I'm noticing General Grievous is not as good as Vader's, though. Vader's are really good. Makes you wonder. Some of them are better than others. But some people don't like screen grabs. They really have art. So just keep in mind that it has screen grabs. Average component quality, miniature imperfections, that is an issue. I thought we would have to contact customer service when we saw that it looked kind of messed up. I mean, look at the bat. It looked like it was like stomped on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you would get that to happen in real life, or not real life, but as a child, if you had something like this and you were mistreating this, that's how you'd get marks like that.
Right.
So, but when I looked online, it seems like everybody has that problem. So I don't know what they did in their production run to cause that problem. So it needs repeat plays to appreciate and play correctly. We played 2 or 3 rules wrong for a while. We've played this game 6 times now. I'd say half of it we played wrong.
Yep.
Okay. And we were about to give it a lower rating until we tried it again, which tells you that how many people are going to play this who aren't willing to commit that much time to it are going to have more of a negative view of the game.
I agree.
So we raised our rating, finally playing it correctly and finding the right villains to play. If Julie would have kept on playing Moff Gideon, she probably first off probably wouldn't have played.
No.
And knowing that she was not having a good time, I said, okay, I think she'll like General Grievous because it's not as much deck searching to do.
Yeah.
And you did have more fun.
I did.
So part of this is there's more complicated with the extra stuff. You got to play it correctly, and then you got to make sure you're matching what somebody enjoys playing, which character they want to play, to their playing style. So there's some things that are going. You got to have the stars have to be aligned, I think, more in this game than in other games for someone to say, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
So let's get to our review, and we'll now review our rating using the BGG scale. So we both said 7.
Yeah.
Good, usually willing to play, only because we played it so many times and played it correctly.
And I would only play if I got to be General Grievous.
Yeah, right now. Maybe you'll try something later as you get more confidence. We both rated this a 6 at first because of what I've mentioned. Now that we were playing it correctly, and it is definitely more enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I really wonder how many people have played this game and have rated it worse than they could have if they would have understood it. Maybe you're really good at reading rules and understanding deck games, and you played it correctly the first time and you got it.
Yeah.
But for us, and part of it I could have talked about the way the rules are laid out, you got to search multiple places to, this would be another thing to say about, I'm not trying to discount people's ability to read rules. What impairs comprehensibility is how it's laid out, because you have to look in multiple places. Here, they'll have things buried here, and then the types of cards, and then how you do, it's laid out all over the place. And then what makes it harder is that you got to look at these card actions here too. So sometimes you got to look at 2 or 3 places to figure out how everything interlocks well together. And that makes it less accessible to play. It's all there,
Yeah.
but it's harder to get it right.
But I also think, just like with the other Villainous, is that for someone like me, it took me a really long time to really even get General Grievous down. But poor David, he plays these really more difficult villains, and he's still trying to help me figure out my thing as well as do his thing. So it's You know, I always feel bad because it takes away his enjoyment and his fun.
No, I have fun playing with you, honey. In fact, you beat me twice with Grievous because you beat me with Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
Asajj Ventress is more difficult, and you beat me. And then when I played Darth Vader again, you beat me because you were taking fate actions to slow me down.
Well, only because you said you should do that,
Right.
and I didn't want to because, like I said, I don't like doing the take that kind of stuff.
So that's something to keep in
don't.
mind, but that's why you got to be in the mood. It's a 7.
Yeah. And I definitely can't play this if I'm tired at all.
Right.
There's no way.
So this is a solid game.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that make it less accessible. It's more difficult than regular Disney Villainous, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'd play this more than Disney Villainous because I like the IP. I like Star
Yeah, and
Wars.
see, I like the Disney. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't mind Star Wars. If David ever wants to watch it, I'll watch it, but most of the time we'll be checking my phone or I'll be knitting. I'll be getting up and doing other stuff because unless it's like the old ones, I guess, I don't know how to say it, like the one with
The original series.
Originals. Yeah. I like those a lot, but when it gets into the new stuff, I'm kind of like, yeah.
Well, so you would say you'd play Disney Villainous over Star Wars Villainous.
Yeah.
If you want to play Disney Villainous, I'll be fine. That's fine. But I would choose this over Disney Villainous. But I'm more of a hobby gamer. There's more going on here. But then again, I think that's also an Achilles heel for it. It requires more effort to play it correctly and learn it. So it's more difficult to learn and play than Disney Villainous, which I think could affect people's reviews of it.
I agree.
So there you go. That's a 7 for us.
There you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.